Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering X-Men Marvel Masterworks Volume 8. Now, at this time, the X-Men did not have their own ongoing series. So, this is a lot of random issues where the X-Men characters were included in. So, they are in chronological order in the way they were released and so forth. This is going to cover materials from April of 1973 all the way up to October of 1975. Oh, yup, believe it or not, X-Men were canceled at this time. They did not have their own ongoing series, but Marvel made sure that we knew these characters were here to stay, so they constantly included them as guest stars and so forth on other ongoing series like Captain America, Iron Man, and so forth. Now, the year before, they were really fleshing out the character of Beast, and they even turned him blue into more beastly looking, right? So he was kind of like the main character that had his own ongoing. The rest of the characters were spread around on other series, on other comics, and so forth. Now, in April of 1973, the Avengers Issue 110 was released. And clearly here you can see it's very X-Men centric. On the cover, you have Magneto looking all menacing. And he's holding Cyclops and Iceman's in the background kind of destroyed. And you see the Avengers coming to the rescue. So you know the X-Men characters are very prominent. And they're even more upfront on the cover than the Avengers themselves are. So Magneto's definitely getting the spotlight here. You know, he's a big bad and he's going to be around. This time, we kind of thought, oh my God, like he might be one of the Avengers main villains going forward, right? In case these X-Men do not return. So you had writers like Steve Englehart and artists like Don Heck, who were both very prominent, very famous at this time, working on the Avengers comic. This issue starts off where Professor Xavier is at the Avengers Tower and he's asking for help. For the Avengers. He's saying something's happened to my students. They agree to help. They go back to what is believed to be the X-Mansion. And now the X-Men are passed out. Iceman, Cyclops, everybody. And the Avengers are picking them up and helping to carry them out of the building. And when they're doing this, Magneto shows up. And what's freaking weird here is he's wearing Angel's costume. In a previous issue, Magneto had beat the X-Men and the Avengers all by himself. He had, in this time, also kind of manipulated Angel into thinking he's a good guy, right? Because we didn't know how Magneto looked without the helmet back then. So it was his first appearance without the helmet. So Angel did not recognize him. And he manipulated Angel into thinking, hey, I'm just a good guy helping people here at the Savage Land. So while he was at the Savage Land, he was playing God, giving dinosaurs and cavemen some type of mutant abilities, right? And also by default, kind of creating his own mutants and his own superhero or supervillain team. So that's kind of a wink and a nod to that, because here he's wearing Angel's costume so that you could kind of referencing that old storyline. And here it's no different. He shows up with dinosaurs and mutants that he created in the Savage Land. And now he had just finished defeating the X-Men, and when the Avengers show up to help, he now defeats the Avengers as well. So he's shaping up to be a big bad. He didn't just beat the X-Men, he beat the X-Men and the Avengers all by himself for the second time. At this time, Magneto has brainwashed all the X-Men, so they have to do his bidding, and he controls them to fight against the Avengers. So while they're fighting, he's trying to also control the Avengers with this new power he has found. In doing so, he completely neglects the women, the X-Men ones and the Avengers ones. Because he's like, well, you know, they're just women, what can they do, right? He's a real sexist asshole, this guy. And at this time, Magneto's not the Magneto we know now. He's much more he's just insane, and he's kind of sexist, and he's more one note, just the evil villain. And so he, for the second time, just neglects the women, and then he doesn't want to mind control his daughter, Wanda, Scarlet Witch. So she gets together with Black Widow and Marvel Girl, and they're all just, you know, bamboozle him. So now it's him against three women, and they best him. They take care of him, stall him enough to where the guys could come through and then come help as well, right? Because at the end of the day, he still is really super powerful. In the next issue, it's a Hulk issue, and we have Juggernaut and Hulk on the cover. So yeah, just like you guessed it, we have two bad dudes just running amok together, teaming up and destroying shit. So there's not much to it. It's a whole comic. I always found them to not have a lot of substance, especially back in these days. So it's just two big guys breaking tanks, fighting against the whole army, the military, and so forth. Fun issue. But totally skippable. Nothing really important happens here. Now, the real meat and potatoes of this book is gonna be the Captain America issues 172 all the way up to 175. These were written by Steve Englehart and artwork by BUSCEMA. Now, that's a killer team right there. And they were working on a real solid storyline at this time. And I'm not sure, I haven't checked the numbers, but I believe Captain America was the more popular of the 3 series we have included so far, being Avengers, Hulk, and Captain America. And to me personally, I think it's the one that had the most depth, and they were the better written comics of these 3 at this time. So as you can see on the cover here, it looks like Captain America and Falcon are in a bad situation. So they're meeting this new villain called Moonstone. So basically, he's here to replace Captain America. The government and the media, as we know, a lot of times they work together, right? To push the agenda they want. And if you hear it often enough, you start believing some of this stuff. At least always the people that know less are gonna be brainwashed easier, right? So they're painting this Moonstone guy as the next Captain America, as a real hero. And they're painting Captain America as a villain, as like, he just betrayed his country, he's no good. But clearly, it's the other way around. Captain America's a good guy, he's still the hero, and this Moonstone is in it with the government, right? He's a shady guy and so forth, so there's something in it for him as well. Now, this story starts off with Banshee. He's in civilian clothes walking around, and Cyclops is searching for him. And then we bump into Captain America and Falcon. They get into this disagreement with the Banshee, and then a scuffle breaks out, right? So then Cyclops comes in to help them, and they realize, hey, he's on our side, he's also after this guy. So now, Captain America and the Falcon have teamed up with the X-Men. And as we know, the government is after Falcon and Captain America because Captain America works for the government, but he won't always play by their rules. If he feels like they're in the wrong, he will question the government. He will question his boss. He's that guy. So now, you know, the boss is after him, basically, right? He's sending S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury, and you know, Nick Fury is always on the side of the government. Whether they're right or they're wrong, that's who he sides with because he's one of them, right? He's a FBI agent and whatnot. Here, I like what the writers did right here. They tied in an old storyline where the Beast goes from man to an actual beast. So at this time, he was dating this girl, and they introduced her in this storyline. And it turns out she was a double agent the whole time using the Beast. So Cyclops and the X-Men get aware of this, and they use this information to help Captain America and the Falcon. So Cyclops pretends to kidnap this girl, while Captain America and Falcon fight him off, save her, and thus winning her trust. So once they win her trust, she's part of this thing called the Secret Empire. So now she trusts them, and she lets them in on her plans and introduces them to the rest of the group to see if they initiate them as rookie members. Now that they've been initiated to this Secret Empire, it's basically kind of like a clan, right? Like the Ku Klux Klan type of thing. They're finding out that Moonstone, this superhero that's going to take Captain America's place, he's friends with this organization. He's kind of like part of it, right? So he's all in that he's going to be kind of like their face on TV and push agendas that they want, right? And they have their hands in everything. Some of them work in the media as newscasts, as judges, as different things. And so they're through the media pushing this narrative that Moonstone's a good guy and so forth. They want him to get popular so he could help them rise and push their ideology. Okay, so as Falcon and Captain America getting closer and become more friends with the leader of this clan, he's showing them some of his plans and so forth. And bam, totally out of left field, we see this spinning wheel of fortune. And in this spinning wheel, we have a bunch of mutants. Beast, the Blob, Iceman, bunch of mutants from the X-Men comics. And I was totally shocked. I was like, wow, we've got the whole X-Men villains and X-Men team here on this 4-issue storyline. So that was real cool and also real surprising. And we get a little quick synopsis of each character of how they got caught by this villain, right? And how they ended up tied up on this wheel. Fight ensues between our heroes and the Secret Empire. And one of them was carrying this big, massive gun. So it's a secret weapon. He guns them down. They weren't much of a match because of the firepower they had, right? So once they take all our heroes down, we have them all trapped in the lair. You see them dragging them out right here. And some of these members, when they remove their mask, they're secret agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So bam, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. comes through at the end of the day. They're always shady. They work for the government. They're always kind of doing bad things. like I said, always for good reasons. So at the end, they always come through and help the good guy, right? Because they do represent America, and while they're not perfect, they're always on the right side. Okay, now that our heroes have broken free from these shackles, we get the showdown we've all been wanting since the beginning of this story arc. Captain America versus Moonstone. Pretty good fight scene, so kudos to BUSCEMA here. He did a great job. We got a build up to this fight, and we got the showdown, and obviously our hero Cap prevails. And once he does, now we need to look for the actual big bad, the leader of the Secret Empire. Once they chase him down, not much of a fight scene here. He gets caught by Captain America, and he takes a gun out and just shoots himself. So it was like, wow, like we get suicide on page. So if that triggers anybody, maybe you don't want to read this story. It's done in a very comic way, so it's not taken too serious, and the artist does a good job of showing you what happened without getting too graphic into it and without showing too much, but enough where you know what happened, right? And it was kind of almost like a take on how once Hitler got caught, he just suicided himself because he wasn't going to be taken alive. And this is very much what this character kind of did right here. So it's a little bit eerie, the ending, and even Cap walks away with his head down, like wasn't the outcome he wanted either. He just wanted to bring this guy in for justice, right? And we also get a pretty cool 3-issue story arc in the Hulk comic books. That is the first appearance of Wolverine. So it's Hulk is fighting Wendigo. They bring Wolverine in to take Hulk down. So he's kind of like a Hulk villain at first, but he became a fan favorite. So they were trying to find a way to bring him back, and as we all know, they brought him back on X-Men, and you know, the rest is history. He became a household name, one of the most popular characters out there. And the last story is a one-shot of Fantastic Four, but it does introduce us to Multiple Man. And in this issue, Multiple Man is a lot different. The way he acts and the way he's portrayed, he's almost comes off as like this space character. A lot different on the Fantastic Four books from what he will become once he's on X-Men, right? And X-Men, he's a little more comedic, and he has a little more charisma and so forth. Here, he's almost like something out of those comics of Fourth World from Jack Kirby. So yeah, it's a lot different take here when they first introduced him. As a lot of characters, once they flesh them out, they change them over the years until we get a writer that becomes a staple of what they will be all the time, right? Of what they'll be most known for. In the description down below, I'll write all the issues that were included in this book in case you guys are interested. And other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day, checking out the video in case you wanted to know a little bit about these stories that were in the gap between X-Men 66 and then when we got to New Giant Size X-Men with the new team, right? So here it shows nothing about the island of Krakoa or any of that, or how we led into that Giant Size X-Men storyline. So if you want to start on that Giant Size X-Men, you can start right there, and nothing that you read before that will show you how they were trapped there. They don't cover that, at least not here. So yeah, like I said, thank you guys for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, hopefully you hit that like button. And if you want to see more of the same and continue this journey with me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way I'll notify you on your feed when my next X-Men video goes up.